I'm about to go back to the library, so I'm going to do a quick book review, plus one of a book that I had donated. So I'm going to start. Girl Town, made by Carolyn Nowak. It's a bunch of short stories that she made. Very interesting. I love her art style. One of her short stories in specific, though, hold on, this one, The Big Burning House, I could not read it at all. For some reason, I just couldn't pay attention to it, the way the words were laid out, I guess. It was just, for some reason, it was overwhelming. She has a really cool art style. There was one drawing of a tiger that she had in here. This was my favorite short story. Hold on. 2 weeks? That's not it at all. This is a longer one. Diana's Electric Tongue. Very interesting one. The idea of just, you can have this whole person and it's a robot, like an escort service kind of. I want to say she falls in love with the robot at some point, Diana, but I don't think so. I don't know. She had a fondness to him. When I saw just the picture in itself, I thought it was going to be like just one story. So it's cool to see all these mini stories. And the first one was really interesting. I liked seeing, I forgot her name, be in love with Betsy, though. Betsy's a pretty character. Not much to say on this one, but it was an interesting read. I read Seconds by Bryan O'Malley. I love his artwork from the Scott Pilgrim series. This was so interesting. I love these types of stories that, like, they give the main character or a character the power to go back in time, and, like, it can be the way that they want it to be, and then you come towards the end of the story, you realize, oh no, this is like, you have to be okay with the decisions that you're making now. You can't always go back in time and change it. Essentially one of those. And he condensed it into this one story about this girl named Katie, and it was so interesting, about house spirits. I don't know how people can think of stuff like that. So interesting. Junji Ito and his rendition of Frankenstein, which was Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley. I said it right the first time. I was so sad. That's embarrassing. English adaptation by Nick Mamadas. Translation, Jocelyn Allen. Really interesting way of how he interpreted it. Or I guess from the English adaptation. Really cool. The art was cool. I can't justify Frankenstein killing all those people, but I sympathize for his character. Not Frankenstein, the creation of Frankenstein. I wish he had a name, make it less confusing. The concept of the bride of Frankenstein's creation was also really cool. Crazy plot twist that the head was Justine's head. I don't know if he was playing, just a weird thing. Why'd you have to pick her head in specific? I think he kept it in mind because he knew that Justine got decapitated, but I don't think he did it intentionally. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought he was ugly. Maybe I would have. I don't know. It's also dead flesh, but it's a shame. He didn't ask to be born. What made me really sad was seeing how, like, towards the end, he's like, my master is gone and now I'm truly alone. Like, literally in that pursuit in itself, it was the only, like, form of connection he had because his master was one of the only people, if not the only person who could talk to him normally. Minus calling him crazy. Oh, I thought I'd be a little bit more scared. Past that, everything about this is crazy also. Oh my gosh. His friend is really calm. His name's Henry, I think. I don't know. If I heard all that, he's a good friend for being so calm and collective, but I don't know. And knowing that your creation killed not only your maid, your father, the girl you love, your younger brother, he had a point, I guess, because if we're only going off of what the creation had said, like, just make me my bride and then I'll leave you alone, I guess that's all you can do. So that's literally to save anyone else from being killed too, but then look where that happened. But the creation was wrong on that. It's not like he was intentionally trying to make this thing that would be scared of him too. Really ironic that she was also afraid, the creation. Next is like a 6-part series about this boy named Oshikiri and how his house is haunted, and for some reason the connection between all of them didn't make sense to me, but each was like a good individual story. And then one about his dog. Non. Angry dog. He draws cool. And then the last book I want to talk about is, what's it called? Crying in Hmart by Michelle Zauner. It's a memoir of her and her life from childhood up until now. And it's really interesting to see how Japanese breakfast wasn't really talked about at all, but how it was discussed towards the end of the story, and how that just really wove into her life. And it's unfortunate that her mom passed away. It's more unfortunate what she went through her childhood. When it comes to memoirs, I only want to say so much though, because these are real people and these are real stories. This isn't something it's not something to give a reflection on. So I want to try to give a reflection on the book in itself, but because it talks about her, it's a little bit, I don't know. Interesting to read about how her life was brought out. She deserves happiness. She deserves to be wherever she wants to be in life. Interesting to hear some parts about how she was brought up from her Korean heritage. We don't hear too much about her American heritage other than her being raised in the U.S. But good book. I'm happy that she has her partner Peter, that they're still a thing. I was hoping that it wasn't is this me talking about it? Well, I'm happy for her and her husband Peter. So I'm gonna go back to the library. Probably gonna get more graphic novels because I have training tomorrow for work. I love reading. Reading is so fun. So these were my books. Got them for one day. Off to the next. I will see you on the next book review. I love you.